Welcome back to Grammar Grade 12. I'm really glad you're here. This is Unit 8, Lesson 63, and it's the final lesson in our unit on using modifiers correctly. Today we tackle two of the most common, and frankly, the most entertaining, slip-ups in all of English: misplaced and dangling modifiers. These are the mistakes that put guests on paper plates and send backpacks running for the bus. Once you learn to spot them, you'll never unsee them, and your writing will get noticeably clearer. Let's dig in. Here's the whole idea in one breath. A modifier is a word or phrase that describes something else, and it has one simple wish: to sit right beside the word it describes. Everything today grows from that. When a describing phrase lands in the wrong spot, we call it misplaced, and it ends up describing the wrong word. When an opening phrase has no doer to attach to, we call it dangling, and it grabs whatever noun is nearest. So keep two things in mind. Put the modifier next to what it modifies, and make sure that word is really in the sentence. Get those two right, and the rest is easy. Let's start with the first kind of trouble, the misplaced modifier. The rule underneath everything today is simple. A describing phrase belongs right next to the word it describes. When it drifts away, it accidentally describes whatever it lands beside. Listen to this. She served cookies to the kids wrapped in foil. Now, what's wrapped in foil? The way it's written, the phrase wrapped in foil sits right next to the kids, so it sounds like the children came wrapped in foil. That's the misplaced modifier at work. The phrase landed next to the wrong noun, and the sentence says something you never meant. So how do we fix a misplaced modifier? We move it. We slide the phrase over until it sits right beside the word it truly describes. The cookies are what's wrapped in foil, so we put wrapped in foil next to cookies. She served cookies wrapped in foil to the kids. Now the arrow points where it should. The phrase describes the cookies, and no child gets mistaken for a party favor. Same words, new order, and suddenly the sentence means exactly what you intended. Before we leave misplaced modifiers, watch out for a small family of words: only, just, almost, and nearly. These little limiting words are notorious for sliding into the wrong spot, and when they do, they quietly change your meaning. Compare these two. I only ate one bite. Strictly, that says the single thing I did was eat it. I didn't cook it or serve it. I only ate. Now, I ate only one bite. Here, only limits one bite, meaning I stopped at a single bite. Two different claims from the very same four words. The rule is simple. Put only or just or nearly right in front of the exact word you mean to limit. Now the second kind of trouble, and it's sneakier, the dangling modifier. This time, the problem isn't just where the phrase sits. It's that the word the phrase is supposed to describe never shows up at all. An opening phrase, usually an ing or ed phrase, needs a doer, and it grabs the first noun it can reach. Listen. Sprinting for the train, my backpack slipped off my shoulder. Who was sprinting? Not the backpack. But the backpack is the nearest noun, so the sentence hands it the action. The real runner, the person actually sprinting, never appears in the sentence at all. That's what dangles. A phrase reaching out for a doer who isn't there. There are two clean ways to fix a dangler. The first, right after the phrase, name the doer. Sprinting for the train, I felt my backpack slip. Now the person doing the sprinting, I, sits exactly where the phrase can describe it. The second fix, turn the phrase into a full clause with its own subject. As I sprinted for the train, my backpack slipped. Now the who is built right into the clause. Either way, the test is the same. After an opening phrase, make sure the very next thing names the person or thing actually doing it. Let's boil it all down to a quick check you can run on any sentence with a modifier. 1. What word is this modifier actually describing? Name it. 2. Is the modifier sitting right next to that word? If it drifted, slide it back. And 3. Especially for an opening phrase, is the doer, the person or thing doing the action, actually there in the sentence? If it's missing, you've got a dangler, and you either name the doer or rewrite the phrase as a clause. 3 quick questions, and misplaced and dangling modifiers stop sneaking past you. Let's practice. Time to practice. In this first set, I'll show you a sentence, and your job is to diagnose it. Is it fine as written, or does it have a misplaced or dangling modifier? Read each one carefully, decide, then I'll reveal the answer. Walking to school, a stray dog followed me. Ask the key question. Who was walking to school? It certainly wasn't the dog, but the dog is the subject sitting right after the phrase, so the sentence accidentally says the dog was walking. The person who was really walking, me, never appears as the doer. This one is dangling. Rosa nearly practiced the piano for 3 hours. Look at where nearly is sitting, right in front of practiced. As written, it says she nearly practiced, meaning she almost sat down but didn't quite. What we really mean is that she practiced for nearly 3 hours. The limiting word landed in the wrong place, so this one is misplaced. Racing to beat the storm, Maria pitched the tent. Who was racing to beat the storm? Maria, and there she is, the subject, sitting right after the phrase, ready to be described. The doer is present and in the right spot, so nothing dangles and nothing is out of place. This sentence is correct. Here's the second set. Same game. Read the sentence, decide whether the modifier is doing its job or causing trouble, and name the problem if there is one. Pause and choose before each answer. The waiter serves steaks to the guests on hot plates. What exactly is on the hot plates? The phrase on hot plates sits right beside the guests, so strictly read, the guests are the ones on hot plates. The steaks are what we mean. The phrase drifted away from the word it describes, so this one is misplaced. To win the scholarship, a strong essay is required. Ask who wins the scholarship. Not the essay. An essay can't win anything. But a strong essay is the subject, so the phrase reaches out and grabs it anyway. The person who actually wins never shows up in the sentence. This one is dangling. Exhausted after the hike, Leo fell asleep instantly. Who was exhausted? Leo. And Leo is right there as the subject, exactly where the opening phrase can describe him. The doer is present and correctly placed, so this modifier behaves itself. This sentence is correct. Let's gather it all up. First, a misplaced modifier is simply in the wrong spot. It sits too far from the word it describes, so slide it right next to that word. And watch those limiting words like only, just, and nearly especially closely. Second, a dangling modifier has no doer anywhere in the sentence. Fix it by naming the doer right after the opening phrase, or by rewriting the phrase as a full clause. The single rule behind both: put the modifier next to what it modifies, and make sure that word is actually there. And with that, we finished Unit 8, using modifiers correctly. Nicely done. Next time, in Lesson 64, we open Unit 9, the usage glossary, where we'll sort out the tricky word pairs that trip up even careful writers. I'll see you there.